So last night, AEW gave us the All Out pay-per-view, and this pay-per-view did not miss after them coming out of All In not long ago and whatnot, and actually doing a great job as far as presentation. Last night, All Out with the last two matches was the craziest thing I have seen in one, the semi-main event and the main event, something that I know a lot of people will be talking about. So we're going to be talking about that and much more on the Chokeslam Wrestling Report.
Is the moment we've all been waiting for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to another episode of the Chokeslam Wrestling Report. I am your host, the infamous Ultimate One from the Boogie Down Bronx, coming to you with episode number 210. And we are definitely going to jump on right away on this podcast and talk about probably one of the best pay-per-views I've seen this year as far as when it comes to AEW. Now, AEW, for me, once I saw this again this year where they had All In the ending of August, and then 2 weeks later you had All Out. To me, I said, well, they're doing the same mistake they did last year. Last year they had over 80,000 people at All In, but then 2 weeks later they had an All Out where the pay-per-view wasn't that great. That's when Moxley beat Orange Cassidy for the AEW International title. That was the main event. And again, Moxley last year was in the main event. This year, he was in the semi-main event, but he was not wrestling. As you guys know, in the last couple of weeks, Moxley has been throwing crypto messages. He has Marina Shafir. Yes, you heard me right. Marina Shafir hanging out with him and taking out people. Okay? Now, I started questioning where does the Blackpool Combat Club ends up now, because Moxley wasn't around for almost a month and a half, probably more than that, from recuperating from, I guess, his injuries. He had just lost his AEW, not the AEW, the IWGP World Title to Naito at Forbidden Door. So he's been, AWOL. And then all of a sudden, this past a couple of weeks ago, because of the Lucha Bros leaving AEW to go to WWE. Now Pac, who was part of the Death Triangle, now found himself by himself. So in the trios, I believe it was the ladder match or a trios match for the titles, Pac won the belt with Castelloni and Yuta as part of the Blackpool Combat Club. So I'm like, oh, so Pac is now part of the Combat Club. Now, Pac, I said to myself, Pac fits perfectly with them. But BCC has been 1 minute they heels and 1 minute they're not. So they're betweeners. That's what we call it, betweeners in the wrestling business. Now, when I believe it was in June, I remember when Castelloni lost a match. Forgot who he lost. And I think it was part of the Owen Hart tournament. Bryan Danielson was doing commentary, and Bryan Danielson told him, he tried to give him a high five, whatever, and Castelloni was not having it. People kept telling me Castelloni is going to turn on Bryan Danielson. And the other thing I'm thinking, like, why would he turn on him? But then I remember that Bryan Danielson was planning to team up with Eddie Kingston in the AEW, or I think it was a Double or Nothing, the Elite versus AEW, which was Darby, Bryan Danielson. Was supposed to be Eddie Kingston. Actually, it was supposed to be Eddie Kingston, Bryan Danielson, and FTR against the Elite. But Eddie Kingston broke his tibia bone in a match against Gabe Kidd. And then, Danielson didn't have to team up with. To me, I said, well, if that's the case, that should be cool because then when Eddie Kingston comes back, they can make a story out of that. Now, last night, after Bryan Danielson beat Jack Perry in a phenomenal match, the Blackpool Combat Club came to the aid of Bryan Danielson after the match because Christian Cage was coming in to cash in his contract. They're not calling it Money in the Bank like WWE, but he was going to cash in his contract to get his match. But little did we know that out of nowhere, the BCC showed up. The BCC, whatever you want to call it, showed up, and to protect Bryan Danielson. Danielson was in the ring smiling, like, okay, you see, you try to play yourself. The patriarchy came in, looked like they were about to attack Bryan Danielson, but the Moxley, Castagnoli, Yuta, and Pac came out. So now the things were even. The crazy thing that we saw afterward was Castagnoli was the one who turned on Bryan Danielson, and then Moxley took it to the next level. He tried to suffocate him with a plastic bag. Now, I saw this, and I'm like, wow, AEW now has taken their stuff to another level. Then we, of course, before we continue on with this situation, there's a point to what I'm trying to make. Then we saw the Hangman Page versus Strickland. The ending of that, I mean, that match was brutal as far as the competitors doing so much stuff on themselves. They use cinder blocks against each other. They use bar wires. They use chairs. They use tables. They use everything. But it was the ending part, when Hangman Page took out a syringe needle and stabbed it. First of all, he took the grills off Swerve Strickland, and then he stabbed. And I was like, he took his grill. Why he's taking his grill? He took his grill off and whatnot, and then he pulled out a syringe and stabbed Swerve Strickland inside his mouth area, and I think the needle came out to the other side. I'm not sure, but he stabbed him with it, and then he hit him with a sick chair shot over the head, which the referee stopped the match. Now, when I got on X, Facebook, all these other social media, you had people talking about this was a sick match, this was crazy. But the biggest one that I saw was the polls people putting up. Did AEW cross the line? I don't think so. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because people are acting like we never seen anything like this. I mean, syringe, we never seen a syringe like that. Chair shots hit over the head, plastic bag over. The plastic bag part has been used before in wrestling. I don't remember who it was that used it, but they done it. Okay. The chair shots over the head, we seen it, but I don't know why they're doing that, because there was a lot of campaigns with wrestlers who would go against that, because that could do damage. You see what happened to Chris Benoit, where all those headbutt he did from the top rope and whatnot. And when they checked his brain was of a 84-year-old dementia person. That's how much damage his brain had from all those headbutts he did. But the ending of that match was crazy. And a lot of people are now asking, did AEW cross the line? AEW has been crossing the line for a while already. Okay. I mean, people were saying, oh, women should, and it's true, because somebody said it, well, get ready for the internet and the social media and the drones, the e-drones especially. All women should be in a Texas death match or Chicago street fight. Women should be bleeding on the ring and blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's good. It's not good when it's AEW doing it, but if WWE is doing it, it's good. You know what I'm saying? Then I saw Io Sky, Io Shirai, whatever, Io Sky, I think that's her name in WWE, and try to pull Joey Starks, I think that's her name, Joey Stark, and do a Falcon Arrow on top of some stairs. I think it was Money in the Bank. Did anybody complain about that? No, but it's funny how people just complain when it's AEW. When AEW is doing it, it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Now, the syringe part, that part I never seen anybody in wrestling do. I think I have seen everything in wrestling. You know what I'm saying? But this is not the first time we've seen in wrestling where people go across the line. I mean, how many times Mick Foley crossed the Mick Foley was known for crossing the line. In case people forgot, 1998, The Undertaker took Mick Foley chokeslam right through the cage. And I believe it was in Pittsburgh, and Mick Foley fell from 15 feet from the top of the cage, which he had a tooth coming out his nose. So it was okay back then. It was okay for ECW back then to do crazy stuff, you know what I'm saying, and shed blood, and Tommy Dreamer going through 20,000 fucking tables when Brian Lee chokeslamming from the top of a balcony. It was all right then, but now it's not all right. I don't get it. I don't get what people talking about AEW crossed the line. I don't think they crossed the line at all. Now, if they do it constantly, then. But if you think about it, the Jon Moxley suffocating Bryan Danielson, that I didn't see it coming. I knew he was going to be. Like I said, I had a feeling Castelloni was going to be the one who's going to betray Danielson. He was the first one who hit Danielson. You know what I'm saying? And then Moxley has been running around with this thing of, it's not. He told Tony Schiavone, "This is not your company anymore." So I don't know what's the plan that Tony Khan is doing, and what's the story. I mean, he did trademark a shockwave. Now the shockwave, if they trademarking that means that either Shane McMahon is coming in as part of probably the guy who runs now. It may not be the Blackpool Combat Club anymore. It might be a different name. With a bunch of all these wrestlers. Because if you think about it, all those wrestlers that is in the Combat Club used to work in WWE at one point. So we could see that. Marina Shafir, I think she was part of WWE, but she was in the NXT brand. So I see that coming. You know what I'm saying? I see that coming. But them crossing the line, I don't know about that. Now, the Hangman page and Strickland, it's been, and my boy said it, my boy Mike said it best. He said, Hangman Page has been in so many great storylines in AEW since they exist in AEW. You know what I'm saying? I mean, except with I think he has a main event since I think his last match with CM Punk and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And that was the last time he main evented. But his storyline has been great. I mean, he did the Omega and the Omega and Hangman that lasted for a year and whatnot when AEW first started and whatnot. It was perfect. It was great. Hangman storyline with Swerve Strickland. I mean, the fact Wednesday, the way they ended the Dynamite segment when Hangman Page lighting up Swerve Strickland's house on fire kind of remind me of the when Randy Orton burned the Wyatt compound. Kind of remind me of that. But it's stuff like that makes wrestling great. You know what I'm saying? And then you're gonna have, again, you're gonna have these e-drones talk a lot of shit. They're gonna talk a lot of nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Somebody asked people in the X, what would you rate the the AEW All Out show? And he said a 3. I'm like, somebody told him, are you kidding? But that goes to show you, people just say things because they online, and you could tell the trolls from the people who don't, the trolls and the people who don't know shit about wrestling, to those people who are just giving an opinion and they watch both shows, WWE and AEW, and give you the constructive criticism. You know what I'm saying? But yesterday, the trolls were all out. Even at the 0 hour, I saw the most pathetic, and maybe Twitter handle or whoever it is that runs it, ISO Wrestling. These guys are the same guys who win last year during World's End and claimed that Chris Jericho assaulted Kylie Ray. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because it always happens. It happened. Look, PN News or whatever his name is, the lawyer for CM Punk, now is representing the boys that used to be part of the Ring of Honor and whatnot. They're part of Dalton Castle's boys. They got fired because they didn't show up to Collision. So now they went and try to, sue somebody. So did Kevin Kelly. I mean, I'm very surprised with Kevin Kelly because Kevin Kelly was talking some QAnon bullshit and whatnot. And him and Ian Cabani got into it. So Jim Ross said that this is a frivolous lawsuit. It's not going to work. They're going to lose. But who got him? CM Punk's lawyer. And CM Punk's lawyer had the nerve to go on Twitter and say, Tony Khan is paying JR or Jim Ross money for him to stay home. Which he's an idiot because, first of all, he shouldn't be worrying about how much JR is making. And second of all, JR's been having health issues and Tony Khan is still taking care of him. If this would have been WWE, he would have been fired. You know what I'm saying? So you see what I'm talking about? When it's AEW, it's wrong, but when it's WWE, it's all right. Because this is what I try to get through the community most of the time. You know what I'm saying? It's dumb shit that doesn't work. And now it's like Raj Giri, who used to own, I think that he used to own Wrestling Inc. or whatever. He was put in check this week by Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland just signed an extension of his contract, and I think he's the highest paid AEW wrestler right now. And apparently WWE didn't like that. WWE said it's not good. It's not good for the playing field. Blah, blah. And I'm saying, wait a minute. Because now you got someone that has the same amount of money that WWE has and could pay wrestlers. There's a problem. You guys, WWE has been using their financial power to sign all these wrestlers in the past just to take them out of the free agent market and pay them all this crazy money, but really not use them. This is what Vince McMahon used to do all the time when AEW first started. He didn't want, this is what he did. You know what I'm saying? So it's all right for WWE to do it, but AEW can't do it. And then the funny thing is, that Swerve Strickland kind of said that WWE is still tampering with contracts, with contracted wrestlers. And Raj Giri had the nerve like, oh, that's impossible. And Swerve Strickland said, I got receipts, which means I got the text that was sent to him. WWE was trying to court him and Prince Nana to come to WWE. It's funny how WWE had Swerve Strickland part of the shit row, not hit row, shit row, and then they let him go. And now that he was a world champion, he's making money, he's doing all this thing for the company, he is an ambassador for the company, for AEW. Now they want him. See what I'm talking about? It doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, in WWE land, if you guys didn't see SmackDown this week, Giovanni Da Vinci did his re-debut on SmackDown with a different gimmick and got pinned in 3 seconds. Now, tell me if this is right or wrong. If you're bringing in back a wrestler repackaged, you're going to make him lose in 3 seconds and then make him lose to Apollo Crew, who hasn't been in TV, God knows what, who has not been relevant and God knows what. Are you serious? This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's all right for WWE to do it, but it's not all right for AEW to do it. And again, I usually don't do reviews right away when it comes to pay-per-views. I try to do it the following week, but this week I had to talk about it and whatnot with the two main things that we saw at the pay-per-view. Now, I am sure there's going to be a lot of podcasters, who are going to give their thoughts and whatnot and and the opinions. But I could tell you one thing, some of them, they didn't bother to watch the pay-per-view last night. They were doing something else. But they're going to go look online, see what people are talking about. They're going to have their own opinion on it instead of watching it or should have watched it, because that's what a podcaster do. You don't go to another place, or unless it's family, or you're not doing what you're supposed to do when you do a podcast, to get the info. So when you get on a podcast, you don't get onto the podcast to criticize about pay-per-view. You didn't bother to watch live. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, to me, again, I'm like, to me, honestly, I'm the one-man show. I'm going to be honest. Because I'm seeing a lot of people, a lot of podcasters getting together, networking. Nothing wrong with that. But they have the same mindset, same thinking, critical thinking. And when you have that, a critical thinker that thinks the same way as another person, and you know, that's not helpful. So this one-man show is going to keep it real, like always, and whatnot. And again, been around for 5 years. I've been seeing AEW right now. There's a lot of stuff going on, especially with the TV deal. Tony Khan said down the 1 yard line. A year ago, we saw guys like JD from New York. I'm gonna put him out there. Other podcasters, Badala, who used to team up with JD. Okay, you had BC Amplifier. You had all these podcasters talking about that WWE was going to come to Warner Brothers. AEW wasn't going to have a TV station, and they may go out of business, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. We heard it all last year. We heard it all. And it wasn't in December when we heard that WWE is going to Netflix and whatnot. Meanwhile, everybody who was going like this, who don't like AEW, who hates AEW, anyone who hates AEW hates professional wrestling as a whole. Okay, so that means if you hate AEW, you cannot, I'm sure you don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm sure you don't watch Ring of Honor, even though Ring of Honor is just a developmental. I'm sure you don't watch MLW. I mean, but you want to watch garbage, garbage wrestling like TNA, who they ain't got nothing going. Let's be realistic. And NWA. Y'all push that. But it goes to show you the mindset of some of these people. What happened to NWA? You don't hear nothing from NWA. They keep saying, oh, we signed this person. We signed that one. Exclusive. Exclusive to what? You're not making no noise. TNA, they're working with NXT. And at the end of the day, we all know that after next year, when they go to WWE goes to Netflix, they're going to sign Jordan Grace and whatnot. She is going to come in because, I mean, Joe Henry, don't get me started with that. Joe Henry just lost at No Mercy. And he's going back to TNA. So back to TNA you go. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, listen, I don't hate wrestlers like that, like this, the way these marks on social media do, and they come and they talk out of their ass, and they don't have no receipts. Okay, when I talk to you about this stuff, I got receipts. Okay, people were making Joe Henry to be this big guy. They're talking about his song was top whatever. Who cares? So he got, okay, his song is top 100, whatever, on the billboards, whatever you want to call it. What is he doing now? Still a mid-card wrestler. Just what I said in the beginning, a couple of months ago when I heard that he was working with NXT. A mid-card wrestler, a Ring of Honor reject. Okay? Until he does something else more than what he's been doing for the last 5 years, because I saw Joe Henry for the first time in 2019 when Ring of Honor had lost their work relationship with New Japan. That's when I saw Joe Henry. And since then, AEW never bothered to pick him up. Ring of Honor let him go. Okay, MLW didn't pick him up. NWA didn't pick him up. He went away to in London or whatever he was doing and wrestled over there. To tell you, it's like right now, before I leave, I'm gonna close this out with this. It's funny, right? Because I'm sure that you're gonna have a lot of e-drones. They're gonna be talking about how bad AEW is because of what Moxley did with Danielson and what Hangman did with the Syringe on Strickland. But it's funny how WWE went and set up a match between Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes for next Friday, for this Friday coming up, I guess, in a steel cage match. Tell me if I bet you they're not going to trying to do something similar to what we saw last night, AEW All Out. Okay? People may not agree with me with this, but I'm going to keep it real. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So you can say whatever you want, but isn't it funny that they're doing a steel cage and they announced this Friday, a day before AEW All Out with Hangman Page and Strickland steel cage. Okay? Because we know. I mean, come on. First of all, the Cody Rhodes and the AJ Styles match, I remember that. They tried to do that match. It was an I Queen match, and they tried to do it like AEW does, fighting outside in the crowd, whatever, and that didn't last long because anybody was like, remember, this is a different fan base. WWE fan base likes the storylines. They, if you look at it, same thing with right now what they're doing with Cody Rhodes. His reign, I mean, the only thing people go crazy about is when his entrance. Other than that, his reign is not that great. You know what I'm saying? Nobody reacts sometimes to most of his stuff. So, especially this past Friday when he was in the ring with Solo Sikoa, and you have people chanting, "We want Roman." What that tells you, okay? Won't be long before I see Cody Rhodes losing the belt again soon. I don't know when. I don't think he lasts a year with that belt. He may lose it at Survivor Series. You know what I'm saying? He may lose it next week. I mean, he's been having that belt for what? He had it since WrestleMania in April, so it's been 5 months. Won't put it past him. They gave it to Solo Sikoa just for the hell of it, just to have Roman Reigns come back and win the belt again. Because it's going to happen. Oh, it's about to happen. So that is it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for listening to my episode today. Let me know what you think about this. Tell me if AEW crossed the line last night on this AEW All Out pay-per-view event, or this is nothing, just regular wrestling like wrestling does most of the time. They cross lines. I mean, GCW, they do light bulbs and all kinds of stuff and whatnot. So why is AEW are the one crossing the lines when wrestling promotions cross lines too? I've seen a lot of video with guys jumping off a balcony, trying to do an elbow drop with somebody on a table and miss the table. So come on, let's be reasonable here. Let's use our common sense. So let me know what you think about this video. Leave me your comments. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification button for new uploads. And tell me and leave me your thoughts and comments on the comment section and whatnot. And let me know what you think of this episode. Also, guys, you want to follow me on the on my podcast store. Go to tcwr.veryinkpressive.com. That's tcwr.veryinkpressive.com. You guys could get your shirts, your hats, your hoodie. Now that fall is coming around the corner, I got 3 sets of shirts, baseball cap, hoodie in the website, the store, and that is tcwr.veryinkpressive.com, and that's tcwr.veryinkpressive.com. If you guys want to follow me on social media, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, the X, and of course subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to hit 500. Help me and subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. Until then, guys, hope to see you guys very soon and whatnot with more wrestling news and whatnot. And let me know what you think of all this that happened last night. So until then, I'll see you guys soon.